Faithfully conveying value, we explore the world's best books. Hello, this is Sally's Book Talk. Today we're delving into the biography of Tagore. Tagore was a renowned Indian poet. In 1913, he won the Nobel Prize in Literature for Gitanjali, becoming the first Asian to receive this award. His poetry includes masterpieces like Stray Birds, The Crescent Moon, and others. Beyond his fame as a poet, Tagore achieved great heights in music, painting, and education. Throughout his life, he published over 50 poetry collections, 100 plus novels, 40 some plays, 2,000 paintings, and 2,500 songs. Two became the national anthems of India and Bangladesh. He was a pioneer in education reform, starting his own school in his 20s. It later grew into India's top university. He loved traveling across Europe, Asia, and the Americas, even rescuing Mahatma Gandhi and meeting fascist leader Mussolini. He received a knighthood from the British monarchy and raised funds for China's resistance against Japan. He was buddies with Einstein. So, how did Tagore live such an extraordinary life? How do these incredible achievements relate to his family background and the society he grew up in? Today, we'll uncover the legend of poet Tagore through the biography of Tagore. The book is by Krishna Kripalani, a famous Indian writer and Tagore's grandson-in-law, who spent Tagore's last 8 years with him. It traces Tagore's journey in poetry and his ventures in music, painting, and social activism. And as Tagore's relative, he shares intimate stories of Tagore's personal life and emotions. We'll explore through three angles: Tagore's family roots, his poetry, and his social endeavors. Tagore was born in India in 1861 when much of India was under colonial rule. The British established the British Raj, excluding Indians from power and profiting through political oppression and economic control. Britain's Queen Victoria was declared Empress of India, underscoring the empire's eastern stronghold. In Calcutta, there was a prestigious aristocratic family. And wow, they were incredibly wealthy. Besides owning vast estates and land across India, they also exported sugar, tea, and coal, operated a shipping fleet between Britain and India, and ran a major bank. Yet these impressive riches weren't the true source of the family's influence. The family patriarch earned immense prestige in India through his contributions to public welfare, cultural enlightenment, and spiritual practice. Revered as Maharishi, great sage, he fathered 14 exceptionally accomplished children. The eldest son was a renowned mathematician and philosopher. The second son became the first Indian to penetrate British ruling circles, serving in the colonial government. The fifth daughter was India's first female novelist, while others became celebrated playwrights and musicians. The youngest child in this family was our protagonist. Immersed in philosophy, poetry, and music with substantial wealth, Tagore enjoyed exceptional privileges that nurtured his profound knowledge of history, literature, and music from childhood. Yet such large, talented families had their drawbacks too. Tagore's mother was consumed managing the enormous household, leaving no time for childcare. His father lived like a hermit, meditating or traveling when not occupied with work. Young Tagore rarely saw his father, and this parental absence fueled his deep yearning for maternal love and admiration for feminine affection. This became a central theme throughout his writings. Yet Tagore never wallowed in self-pity, gratefully noting his parents' busyness spared him the willfulness bred by overindulgence, with discipline coming from others. Despite wealth, Tagore's father enforced material austerity, strict rules, and harsh servants to cultivate contentment, frugality, and resilience. Tagore recalled, "My childhood knew no luxury, no shoes before 10, just cotton vests in winter. But harsher than rules were the servants." He reflected, "Servants were tyrants. My childhood was a miserable reign of servant rule." As a child, Tagore was extremely energetic, To make things easy, servants would lock him in a room and draw a chalk circle around him to intimidate him. They claimed this circle was magical. Stepping outside would bring disaster. Young Tagore believed these lies, frozen in fear inside the magic circle each time. Fortunately, a window in the room let the confined boy pass time observing flowers and plants outside. He reflected, those childhood days made me sense mystery hidden everywhere. Yet this confinement left deep-rooted anxiety in Tagore. As he gained autonomy, Tagore rejected all magic circle constraints. In rigid schools, he despised stiff curricular, rules allowing teacher beatings, and harsh regulations like walking in single file without looking around. He changed schools 4 times quickly and dropped out at 14. Yet leaving school didn't ease his academic pressure. Ambitious parents overloaded him with extra lessons, boxing, gymnastics, biology, on top of regular studies, leaving no playtime from dawn to dusk. Though this built his versatile talents, Tagore lifelong despised forced education, calling it meaningless baggage, vowing to pioneer new educational approaches. Fortunately, during his lonely, restricted childhood, one thing brought immense joy: writing poetry. At 8, seeing his brother play a poetry game, filling words into set patterns, Tagore mimicked it and quickly wrote his first poem. From then on, he couldn't stop. Tagore said, from that moment, the distance between the poet and me kept vanishing. From composing at 8 to winning the Nobel at 52, what shaped this journey? What experiences molded him? And what defined his poetry? Now let's explore part 2, Tagore's poetic journey. After 8, Tagore's poetic brilliance emerged. By 14, he was translating Shakespeare independently. Back then, literary creation wasn't considered a real profession. To get their school refusing youngest son a diploma for better prospects, his parents sent him to study in England. Before departure, Tagore's father hired a girl to teach him British customs. Raised in England and deeply westernized, her cheerful nature captivated young Tagore, but with departure looming, shyness stopped him from confessing his love. This hidden passion inspired Tagore's first epic narrative poem. The heroine was named Nolita, the girl's actual name, but when the love-filled book reached Nolita, she'd already been married off by her parents to a man 20 years her senior. That man died within a year of marriage. This unspoken love became Tagore's lifelong cherished memory. He met Nolita at 18, yet wrote at 80. She left, embroidering my barren life with beauty that fills my days with joy. Tagore spent over a year in England studying literature, but disliked school, attending just 3 months. He never earned a degree. He devoted most time to reading and social interactions. He believed books were dead. Only through human connection could one truly understand literature. Western misconceptions about India shocked him during this period. He recalled, folks assumed I knew nothing of civilization. Some even asked if I'd ever seen a piano. Immersed in both Western and Indian cultures, Tagore's writing flourished. After returning, he published poetry, essays, and plays, but his father expected far more. He wanted Tagore to learn family business management. In 1884, 23-year-old Tagore was sent to manage rural estates, patrolling scattered properties by boat along rivers. The slow rural rhythm and primal nature gave him space to resolve inner conflicts. After returning from England, Tagore married under his father's arrangement, a match of equal status, but his wife was only 10. Though such age gaps were common then, Tagore struggled to relate to his wife, let alone develop love. The woman closest to him at home was his 5th sister-in-law. She married into the family young, just 2 years older. They practically grew up together. But just 4 months after his wedding, she committed suicide at 25. While the exact reasons remain unclear, this tragedy devastated Tagore, plunging him into prolonged grief. He wrote, "Death came suddenly, tearing an abyss. I stood helpless as time passed. that chasm gaping with terrifying darkness. Drifting on rural rivers, Tagore gained new insights about death and life. Reflected, seeing the cosmic flower against death's backdrop revealed life's exquisite beauty as his spirit entered a realm beyond mortality. This space held all worldly suffering, yet overflowed with boundless hope and beauty. This epiphany transformed Tagore's thoughts and actions profoundly. No longer a melancholic youth, he turned his gaze toward societal realities. This shift manifested powerfully in his novels and plays. In The Postmaster, he portrayed a poor orphan girl seduced and abandoned by an aristocrat. He stated this drew from real rural observations. Indian women's plight pained him deeply. In the comedy The First Mistake, he satirized three intellectuals in hollow marriages, exposing male hypocrisy, while in Gora, he confronted India's escalating religious conflicts. Protagonist Gora, a devout Hindu, staunchly believed in the caste system. He believed all virtues stemmed solely from lineage and faith. When his lover and best friend acknowledged other religions, he furiously severed ties. But one day, Gora discovered he was an orphan, adopted from abroad, not Indian at all. After enduring painful torment, Gora realized religion's true meaning. Hindus, Christians, and Buddhists have no opposition. All are equal. As part of humanity, these down-to-earth plays achieved huge success in India, bringing Tagore substantial income. He finally broke free from relying on the family business for sustenance and made writing his formal profession. Living rurally and grasping life and death, Tagore showed extraordinary resilience and magnanimity towards life's trials. In 1902, Tagore's wife suddenly died from illness at age 30. For years after marriage, Tagore wasn't affectionate, but she didn't complain. She learned, cooked, managed the home, wrote, read, and performed dramas to keep up. Her efforts paid off, gradually earning her place in Tagore's heart. After her death, gratitude, attachment, and regret filled Tagore's heart. He wrote 27 poems in her memory and never remarried. In one poem, he wrote, "My house is small. Once lost, things can't be found. But in the universe's boundless house, nothing perishes. What's lost forever exists." After her death, Tagore insisted on personally educating and traveling with his kids, writing fun children's poems for them. These works were mostly compiled in The Crescent Moon. Tagore used a child's voice to praise life and nature's beauty, painting a fairy tale world. With its accessible language and imaginative imagery, The Crescent Moon became a language textbook in many Indian schools. Yet Tagore's misfortunes didn't end. In years after his wife's death, because he opposed resisting Western culture through violent extremes, Tagore faced fierce attacks from domestic radicals, plunging his life into a low. In 1907, on his wife's death, on the 5th anniversary, his favorite youngest son died from illness at age 13. Before this, he had already lost a daughter. His children's deaths deeply pained Tagore, but life's hardships could no longer break him. He said, "I'm grateful for the beauty and grace I've been fortunate to feel in life. On the boat of human love, I tasted divine nectar. Those unbearable sorrows made me realize that nothing can harm or conquer the human soul." As thoughts on life, art, and the soul deepened during this period, Tagore's poetic creation gradually reached its peak. In 1910, Tagore wrote his most glorious poetry collection. Gitanjali was originally written in Bengali with 157 poems. Later, Tagore himself translated and condensed it into 51 English poems, which is the version we commonly see today. The four words Gitanjali mean offering to God. In this collection, Tagore, through intricate imagination and lyrical language, describes suffering and glory, life and death, the sorrows and joys of reality, and expounds on the eternal power he perceived that transcends human sorrows and joys. In the aptly titled first poem, Eternal, Tagore wrote, "You have made me immortal, and this is your joy. This fragile cup, you constantly empty it and fill it with new life. The book's author, Krishna, says that the fragile cup in the poem refers to fragile life, and you represents the eternal power beyond all that Tagore experienced. The key to this power is love. Gitanjali was brought to the West by a British poet living in India, the great English poet Yeats. Upon reading it, was thrilled and personally wrote the preface for the English edition, comparing Tagore to Dante. Yeats said, Tagore is greater than any one of us. In his presence, I feel like a savage holding a stone club and wearing animal skins. With fervent praise from Yeats and other literary giants, Gitanjali quickly became popular in the West. The poem's language, full of Eastern charm and mystical imagery, and its exploration of the spiritual world, perfectly filled the Western world's strong demand for spiritual nourishment after the Industrial Revolution's material advancement. They called Tagore the Eastern sage, regarded him as a spiritual leader, and some even thought he was a psychic prophet. In 1913, Tagore won the Nobel Prize in Literature, the first time an Asian had received this honor. In an era when Asian countries were largely colonized by Western powers, Tagore's award opened a new chapter of equal cultural exchange between East and West. Did Tagore's Nobel win set all of India abuzz? A delegation of 500 dignitaries visited to congratulate him, but Tagore responded with cold indifference. He stated, just as I needed no help at my hardest times, no comfort at my most painful times, now I need neither your congratulations nor tributes. Though he soon apologized, these barbed remarks revealed the youthful spirit still burning in this 52-year-old poet. So beyond being the Eastern sage poet, what kind of man was Tagore? What else did he accomplish? First, Tagore was a rebellious education reformer. As mentioned earlier, he disliked school from childhood. Well, at 14, defying family opposition, he became the first dropout in his lineage, never earning any diploma. He loved learning but saw Indian schools as prisons, students as inmates, preferring death as an escapee over being a model prisoner. He often felt an urge to overthrow this prison system. This urge intensified after Tagore had children. As his children grew, relatives urged him to enroll them in formal schooling to secure their futures. But actively sending his own kids to prison like schools, this was unbearable. So he sold his lands and books, borrowed from his father, and founded a small rural school. 10 people total, 5 teachers, 5 students, no walls, no corporal punishment, no endless homework. The classes under banyan trees, ancient meditation practices made compulsory. Here, girls and boys had equal education rights. Music and art valued equally with academics. Teachers included Indians, an American, and 3 Christians. This tiny school caused an uproar. Radical Westernizers hated his revival of traditions. Conservatives attacked co-ed classes and foreign Christian teachers. Too heretical, yet nothing shook Tagore's resolve to build this new school. He funded it with lecture earnings and later his Nobel Prize money. Finally, after 20 years of effort, this school became India's top university in 1921. Beyond education reform, Tagore's other role was that of a conflicted revolutionary. In the early 20th century, around China's 1911 revolution, India launched its own anti-colonial independence movement. Like China, this resistance began with intellectuals, Tagore among them. To support the cause, besides writing, Tagore revealed his lesser-known musical talent by composing patriotic songs. These songs greatly inspired and united the Indian people. After independence, Tagore's Jana Gana Mana became India's national anthem. Bangladesh leader chose another of his songs. This made Tagore the only person to write national anthems for 2 countries. But as revolutionary fervor grew, Tagore saw students abandoning studies to gleefully burn foreign fabrics and machinery. He heard calls for Indians to lie on railway tracks as human weapons to derail British trains. This shocked Tagore, who refused to let independence become mindless destruction. So, this initial movement leader painfully stood against it, demanding, does destruction equal construction? Which act of rioting or burning is moral, which brings national prosperity? These views clashed fiercely with India's mainstream narrative. Former allies, newspapers that published him, and readers now accused him of cowardice and questioned his patriotism. Unlike his school founding resolve, Tagore felt profound helplessness, choosing exile to begin global lecturing. Thus, beyond poet, Tagore's third identity became world-wandering orator. Tagore loved travel since childhood, climbing the Himalayas in his teens. As criticism mounted in India, he chose foreign travels to escape his troubled homeland. Between ages 50 and 70, he traveled across the US, Soviet Union, China, Japan, Britain, France, Germany, Italy, even Argentina and Brazil. Everywhere he went, he delivered speeches. Unlike in India, where he faced criticism for defending Western civilization to his compatriots. In the West, he passionately promoted Eastern culture. He saw spiritual emptiness behind Western material prosperity, advocating truth-seeking over expansion to fill this void. But Tagore's journey wasn't smooth. Despite befriending Shaw and Einstein and gaining fame, he often felt deeply lonely. This loneliness stemmed from skin color, race, and cultural differences. During border checks, he was detained due to his Indian complexion. Promoting Eastern culture got him labeled a spy. He even received assassination threats. In Italy, language barriers led to speech tampering, nearly making him a fascist propaganda tool for Mussolini. These experiences deepened Tagore's love for India. He wrote, "My travels span long years, my journey stretches far. I've crossed vast worlds, leaving traces on distant stars. The path seems longest when closest to you. Only after searching empty horizons did I find you always here." For Tagore, perhaps all journeys were meant to lead him home. In later years, Tagore gradually shifted from avoiding India's independence movement to supporting its radicals. And as 2Y1 erupted, he became a staunch anti-fascist. In 1919, British troops fired on Indian civilians during a conflict, killing over 1,000. Learning this, Tagore silently returned his British knighthood and all honors. In 1932, independence leader Gandhi was jailed. Britain passed a bill partitioning India, plunging the movement into crisis. To rally resistance against the bill, Gandhi vowed a prison hunger strike to pressure Britain. Before fasting, he wrote Tagore seeking support. To maximize impact for Gandhi, though 71 years old and freshly recovered from serious illness, Tagore journeyed arduously to the prison. As Tagore arrived, Britain revoked the partition bill under public pressure. As a child, Tagore was extremely energetic. To make things easy, servants would lock him in a room and draw a chalk circle around him to intimidate him. They claimed this circle was magical. Stepping outside would bring disaster. Young Tagore believed these lies, frozen in fear inside the magic circle each time. Fortunately, a window in the room let the confined boy pass time observing flowers and plants outside. He reflected, "Those childhood days made me sense mystery hidden everywhere." Yet this confinement left deep-rooted anxiety in Tagore. As he gained autonomy, Tagore rejected all magic circle constraints. In rigid schools, he despised stiff curricula, rules allowing teacher beatings, and harsh regulations like walking in single file without looking around. He changed schools 4 times quickly and dropped out at 14, yet leaving school didn't ease his academic pressure. Ambitious parents overloaded him with extra lessons, boxing, gymnastics, biology, on top of regular studies, leaving no playtime from dawn to dusk. Though this built his versatile talents, Tagore lifelong despised forced education, calling it meaningless baggage, vowing to pioneer new educational approaches. Fortunately, during his lonely, restricted childhood, One thing brought immense joy: writing poetry. At 8, seeing his brother play a poetry game, filling words into set patterns, Tagore mimicked it and quickly wrote his first poem. From then on, he couldn't stop. Tagore said, "From that moment, the distance between the poet and me kept vanishing." From composing at 8 to winning the Nobel at 52, what shaped this journey? What experiences molded him? And what defined his poetry? Now let's explore part 2, Tagore's poetic journey. After 8, Tagore's poetic brilliance emerged. By 14, he was translating Shakespeare independently.